Snow Crash, a cyberpunk book written by Neil Stephenson in 1992. It covers a future in California where the US government has collapsed and the whole state is run by corporations. But we're not going to talk about the way the government and all that stuff works on here. What I want to cover today is the technology they used in that book. And if you haven't read the book, my personal opinion, you should go get that book, read it right now. Because the way he imagined technology working in 1992 for the future, we're actually at a point where the technology is diverging. There's just stuff happened that he didn't expect to happen. So right now, I read the book last month, super good, made a lot of sense. I could totally relate to it. I could see where he's going. The guy was an absolute genius, a visionary to understand these things were coming. But the reason I'm saying you should read it right now is already the technology he had in there versus what's really happening in the world right now is already diverging. And the biggest difference that I can see happening right now is the smartphone. When this book was written in 1992, smartphones did not exist. Because of that, the way this guy would use his technology was all on fiber optics with laptops. That's not the biggest part of it. Now, when we get into the book Snow Crash, if you've ever heard of the thing, the reason it's really famous and why everyone's talking about it right now is Neil Stephenson is the guy who coined the name metaverse for a virtual reality system that you would tune into and go do exactly what we're doing in our virtual realities right now, which is shopping, playing games, sword fighting, car racing, business meetings, socializing, and tons of marketing. So that part of his book was absolutely dead on. You'll hear a lot of people talking about it. We have all this virtual reality stuff happening right now. But if I were you, I would get the book and read it right now, because if you wait another 5-10 years, I'm worried that the technology is going to get so different that this book isn't going to actually make sense anymore. Because everything is splitting off from what he did in that book. And what I mean by that, when he wrote that book in 1992, we didn't have things like Bluetooth. Bluetooth came out in 1997. Because of that, they were still using a lot of wired stuff when you read the storyline. So if you were going to log into the metaverse, into this virtual reality where you could do all this cool stuff, you basically had a laptop that was using, I think it was using cell towers and radio towers. I don't know if he mentioned, I don't remember Wi-Fi, but cell towers, radio towers, there was mentions of satellites, fiber optics, but you would get into this laptop, log into it, and it had a little crystal on there, and you wore some cool looking glasses that had to have headphones on them, and this crystal would get a laser, put it on your glasses, and you were in the virtual world. Didn't go into details about how you were walking around, moving your hands, feeling stuff. We know now with the stuff we have now that you can get suits for that stuff, gloves for the stuff. In the book, it just didn't mention that yet, which is fine. That's not a problem with it. But one of the big things, or some of the big things that are happening is in that book, in the Snow Crash, what some of the predictions he made, like he predicted Wikipedia, that there would just be a knowledge base with all the world's knowledge on it, and people would update it and go through it and sell information and buy information. He predicted Wikipedia. He also predicted Google Maps, to where there were satellites in real time watching things, where you can see where their cars are, see where their vehicles were, and actually watch all these things. Due to privacy policies, we don't allow you to show a real car as it's moving, but your phone will show where you are, just not the people around you. So that was a little bit different in the book, but whatever, that's fine. But what I'm getting at with this whole smartphone situation is, in his book, you still had to log into a computer to do all this. Nowadays with smartphones, Google Maps and, Google Maps, Wikipedia, the internet, don't need to get onto the laptop anymore. Our technology with our cell phones has gotten so good, now we got the smartphones, that you do half of the things Neil Stephenson was doing in Snow Crash in the metaverse is actually stuff that we just do on our cell phones right now. And the only thing that we would actually go do into the metaverse, where we had to go put on the whole headset, log into an actual computer so far, is mainly we're using it for games, concerts, meditation experiences, and also doing like business meetings and stuff like that. So it's already with the technology we got and with the smartphones and iPads and everything getting so small to where half of the things in that book are already done on a smartphone, and then the other half are actually done on a computer like he had in the metaverse. And that's why I'm saying right now the book makes a lot of sense, but if I were you, I'd go out and read the book right now, because if you look at what the tech companies are doing right now with Apple and Meta and all these guys, they're already getting the augmented reality. Difference between virtual and augmented. Virtual reality is you have to sit in a room or in a booth somewhere, put on the big headset, put on the whole thing. You can't do anything else except be in the virtual reality. With augmented reality, that's where you got your cell phone in your pocket, you put on a pair of glasses, and it's going to superimpose a whole bunch of this cool computer stuff onto your glasses. So instead of you sitting down and being in the metaverse, or wiring in, logging in, being in the metaverse, you're actually going to be going to work, going to restaurants, talking with friends, augmented realities around it. And the more that gets high tech, the more and more you're starting to see a fight of, we're not sure what the next future will be. In Snow Crash, written in 1992, he thought Neil Stephenson thought that virtual reality, where you logged in, didn't do anything else, was going to be the future. But now that we're looking at it, we see it, we're getting this stuff, there's a huge chance we're going to be going to augmented reality, where our cell phone and our glasses, maybe some rings on your fingers so you can type, is going to get so much bigger of a thing that we'll definitely be going to augmented reality first, and then maybe later in the future the metaverse might take over and we might be doing total virtual reality. But where it stands right now, it's kind of looking like this augmented reality, which, and a good example of this, the biggest augmented reality app that I know of was Pokemon Go. That thing went nuts when that thing came out. Everyone was playing it. People were wandering off into the streets. People couldn't focus on work. There was little Pokemons running all over your house. That was crazy. That was using a cell phone that you had to hold out like this and look like a total geek when you did this thing. The second you actually get glasses that can do that, augmented reality is going to be huge. And in the foreseeable future, which I'm making this video in 2022, we're having a massive chip shortage. Because of that chip shortage, yes, most of the money has been going into virtual reality to get the headsets, get the cool suits. They even have the treadmills that you run on. Some of the stuff is absolutely awesome. Everyone I know of that has virtual reality loves it, but they don't have enough chips right now to make these products fast enough to get it to the mass public. And there's a chance that this augmented reality is going to blow up and become bigger and more important, and everyone's using it before virtual reality has a chance to catch up to it. And so that's why I'm saying, super good book. I liked the guy's predictions. I mean, he made up the word for metaverse, the virtual realities. He thought about Google Earth. He thought about Wikipedia. Also, he had what's it called? He had the cloud. The cloud was in there. Some of the things in there were absolutely epic. But with technology getting as advanced as it is, it's going off into different directions to where, depending what our technology does, okay, we might get augmented reality. Everyone buys that, use it for 10 years. It's the greatest thing. By then, virtual reality catches up, and then boom, everyone's into virtual reality. His book will make total sense. It'll be prophetic. It'll be like a prophecy, a prediction of the future. But if this augmented reality gets too insane and too small and too little, then we're not actually going to be doing the metaverse virtual reality like he had in his book, to where you're sitting down and you're on a laptop and you're not doing anything. There's a chance that might come to your augmented reality where you're just wandering around doing your stuff and all of that is with you. So that's my take on the book. I thought it was a great book. I'm glad I read it. I'd highly recommend. So if you never read it yet, I would definitely go read it. But look at the stuff he's talking about and pay attention to it and let me know, do you think we're going to go straight into the metaverse with a full-on virtual reality, all the suits, all the stuff, or do you think these new smart glasses coming out that make it so you can actually just do your regular work, your life, and you're doing computer stuff at the same time is going to overtake the virtual reality world, and we'll be in an augmented reality world. But anyways, read the book. Let me know what you think. And stay connected, and may your data ever increase.